You know, sometimes the truth is stranger and far more terrifying than fiction. We often seek patterns, logic, and clear motivations in the darkest of human acts. But what if the person capable of unimaginable horror was also the very individual seeking to understand it from the inside out? What if they wanted to join the system they were actively undermining, their academic pursuits a chilling mirror to their hidden depravity? Today, we delve into one of the most perplexing true crime stories of our time, the case of Bryan Kohberger, the criminology PhD student who murdered 4 University of Idaho students. A case that has now taken an astonishing turn as the man who vehemently denied his guilt for so long suddenly, matter-of-factly, confessed. Hi guys, grab a cup of coffee and settle in for this thrilling true crime story. I'd love to know where you're watching this video from. Let me know in the comments. Don't hesitate to join the conversation too. Your thoughts and input are a vital part of this story. Welcome to 24/7 True Crime Chronicles, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our newest stories. Okay, let's continue with the story. On July 2nd, Bryan Kohberger admitted to the brutal murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. 4 young lives extinguished in a horrific act that sent shockwaves across the nation. But even with his confession, the most profound question lingers. Why? Why these students? Why this home on King Road? And how did a seemingly aspiring academic become a confessed quadruple murderer? The irony is palpable and, frankly, deeply unsettling. In the spring of 2022, just months before the murders, Bryan Kohberger was planning a monumental life change. He was moving across the country from Pennsylvania to Washington State, not to escape, but to embrace a new chapter. A PhD in criminology at Washington State University. His ambition? To study the criminal mind, to dissect what makes criminals tick. And most chillingly, he wanted to work for a police department. Imagine the audacity. Even as a young man, Kohberger was a cadet in a law enforcement program, and he had even worked as a security guard. His resume painted a picture of someone dedicated to public safety, someone who sought to understand the intricacies of crime, not to commit it. He applied for an internship at the Pullman Police Department, a seemingly perfect fit for his PhD studies at WSU, located right there in Pullman. His application essay, 3 pages long, was a meticulous piece of writing. He discussed the abundance of data available for analysis in criminal justice, writing, "In order for a criminal justice agency to be adaptable to the complex social environment that shapes any single interaction between police and citizens, an in-depth look at the unused data is of extreme significance." He wanted to sift through data, recommend collection practices, write reports, and aid agencies in creating research agendas. He expressed a strong preference for the Pullman Police Department, stating it would be his home for my time as PhD student. He boasted of leadership roles in past research, claiming to have found solutions to problems. His listed research interests included the cause of violent crime, emotion and decision-making, legal and forensic psychology, and cognitive psychology. It's almost too neat, too perfect. Was he trying to understand himself? Was this a twisted form of self-study, a macabre intellectual exercise masking a horrifying reality? But behind this facade of a diligent PhD student, a different image emerges. A selfie, purportedly taken hours after the murders, showing him in all black, eerily similar to the description given by a surviving roommate. It's a haunting glimpse, suggesting not remorse, but perhaps a reliving of a dark fantasy. And this is where our story takes an even more unnerving turn. Chief Gary Jenkins, then the police chief at the Pullman Police Department, was the man who interviewed Bryan Kohberger for that very internship. When the news broke that Kohberger was the suspect, Jenkins' reaction was visceral. "The hair on the back of my neck stood up," Jenkins recounted. "It was chilling to hear that he was a suspect and that he had been living on the WSU campus." During the interview, Chief Jenkins recalled nothing particularly significant standing out. He interviewed 4 candidates via Zoom. His goal was to find someone who could establish trust and rapport with his staff, a crucial quality for an outsider working with law enforcement. He found Kohberger to be not particularly personable, and his communication not fluid or conversational. He described Kohberger's way of speaking and writing as awkward and wonky. Jenkins ultimately chose someone else, purely based on fit. No red flags were overtly raised, no alarms sounded. Just a feeling that Kohberger wouldn't be effective in building the necessary trust within the department. It's a stark reminder that even the most meticulous vetting processes can miss the hidden depths of human darkness. One can only imagine the profound relief Chief Jenkins felt later, knowing he had not hired this man, this confessed killer, into his department. Now, fast forward to the fall of 2022. The homicides on King Road in Moscow, Idaho, just a short drive from Pullman. Though not in his jurisdiction, the impact on Chief Jenkins and his community was immense. These are close-knit towns, intertwined by their universities and shared lives. The crime was shocking, out of character for the region. Jenkins immediately offered assistance to Moscow PD, a testament to the interagency cooperation in the isolated region. Then a critical detail emerges. Weeks after the homicides, a BOLO, Beyond the Lookout, was issued to law enforcement only. It described a white Hyundai Elantra, years 2011 to 2013, as a vehicle of interest. What happened next is a stunning twist in the early days of the investigation. Within 16 hours of receiving that BOLO, a Washington State University officer on graveyard shift checked their parking database. What did he find? A white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates registered to Bryan Kohberger, but it was a 2015 model. The BOLO had been specific, 2011-2013. Due to this single discrepancy, the officer did not submit it as a tip. Later, another officer saw the same vehicle parked in graduate student housing. Again, the model year was outside the BOLO parameters. So critically, this information was not sent to Moscow PD's tip line. The very car linked to the future suspect was identified early on by local police, but dismissed due to a minor detail in the alert. It's a chilling what-if scenario that highlights the immense pressure and the precise nature of investigative parameters. It wasn't until December 19th that Chief Jenkins received a text from Moscow Chief Fry asking for a meeting the next morning. Jenkins walked into a room filled with 30 to 40 investigators. He was the only outsider. He knew it was big, and he knew it was somehow connected to Washington State University. Then came the revelation. DNA from the crime scene had identified a suspect. That suspect was Bryan Kohberger, a WSU graduate student living on campus. Jenkins describes the moment. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. The name clicked. He remembered the interview, the resume, the cover letter. He immediately offered to provide them. The DNA, coupled with the white vehicle, now identified as Kohberger's, formed an incredibly strong, if circumstantial, case. The awkward intern applicant was now the prime suspect in a quadruple murder. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the monster isn't hiding in the shadows, but walking among us, meticulously planning, perhaps even studying, the very darkness they embody. From that moment, Chief Jenkins sprung into action. He was asked not to share the information, even with his own department, to maintain the secrecy of the evolving investigation. He gathered intelligence on Kohberger's campus, apartment, and office, anticipating search warrants. The arrests and search warrants were planned for December 30th to be served simultaneously in Washington and Pennsylvania to prevent any potential interference. Early that morning, the call came. Kohberger was in custody. What police found in Kohberger's apartment in Pullman was unsettling. It was sparse, almost deserted. It didn't look like someone was actively living there, Jenkins noted. It was almost to the point where someone maybe was not planning to come back. Very few clothes, no shower curtain, minimal personal belongings. It painted a picture of someone who had either left abruptly or was living a life devoid of personal connection, a transient existence even within a fixed address. As the case moved towards trial, Kohberger's defense was aggressive, attempting to get evidence thrown out. We heard about the stargazing alibi, claims of innocence, and a long, drawn-out legal battle was anticipated. Police, prosecutors, and the courts were all preparing for a monumental trial. And then, the ultimate plot twist in the legal saga. A plea deal. Chief Jenkins admitted he was initially surprised, given the defense's aggressive posture, but ultimately, he expressed relief. While acknowledging the differing opinions among victims' families, Jenkins believes it's a good deal in the long run. Death penalty cases, he explains, are plagued by endless appeals, constantly re-traumatizing victims' families. This plea removes that cycle, bringing a definitive end to the legal process and, importantly, ensuring justice without the uncertainty of a jury's death penalty recommendation. The only remaining unanswered question, as Chief Jenkins states, is motive. We can speculate, looking at Kohberger's interests in violent crime, emotion, and decision-making. Was he seeking a deeper understanding of himself through the act, or was it a purely psychological compulsion? The answer, perhaps, will forever remain elusive. With 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, justice has been served. And as the community of Moscow and Pullman look to heal, the hope is that these murders will not define them, but rather the strength and support they showed for one another. The focus now turns to honoring and remembering Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Their lives, tragically cut short, will hopefully be the lasting legacy, not the darkness of their killer. This case serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of evil and the importance of vigilance. While we may never fully understand the why behind Bryan Kohberger's actions, we can learn from this tragedy. Trust your instincts. If something feels off about a person or situation, pay attention to that feeling. Prioritize personal safety. Be aware of your surroundings, secure your homes, and report any suspicious activity to law enforcement immediately. Support your community. In times of crisis, coming together as a community provides strength and resilience. We encourage you to share this story to raise awareness about the importance of community safety and to honor the memory of the 4 lives tragically lost. Let their legacy be one that fosters greater awareness and a commitment to preventing future tragedies. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth true crime stories and analyses. Your engagement helps us continue to shed light on these critical topics.